So my name is Abby Milner, and I'm a lieutenant in the Salvation Army. I have an incredible husband. His name is James, and together we have three kids, Jackson, Bradley, and Andy Jane. Growing up, I had an amazing childhood. I'm the youngest of four siblings, so of course I was the one that was spoiled, and I got away with a lot more things than my other siblings did. But yeah, I had a wonderful childhood, and from my earliest memories, my parents were the divisional youth secretaries for the NCV division, which is now the Potomac division. And they were there for 6 years. So from the age of 4, I grew up going to Camp Happy Land every summer and all throughout the year. And those were some of the best days of my life. And it was wonderful back then because those were the times that our whole family was together. That's where I learned how to ride a bike. That's where I learned how to swim. I learned so much, like just being a kid there. Fishing with my grandmother, she taught us how to fish there, and I can't think of anything negative from that time in my life. But yeah, even our day-to-day life, it was great. And my parents did a wonderful job to raise all of us the way that they did. I was able to get through high school. I mean, like, I never slipped on my grades. I never had any issues with high school. I graduated, and then I selfishly enrolled into college in Oklahoma City because my parents had been given orders to move to Orlando, Florida. And I was adamant that I was not going with them, that I was going to stay. I was going to start my life in Oklahoma City. And I really gave them no choice but to let me stay. And so I was at Southern Nazarene University, and I was living this two-faced life. I would be at school at this Christian university, and I would go to chapel, and I would do all the things. In the evenings, I would be going out, going to people's houses, using drugs. And one night, I was invited to a friend's house for a party, and that was the first night that I took ecstasy. And that night changed my life forever. And so about a month after that, I called my parents and I said, sorry to tell you, but I'm dropping out of college and I'm moving in with my friend. It was in March of 2008. And my brother had just finished his first tour in Iraq. But I was so much into myself and so much into my life that I didn't make the trip to go and welcome him home, but everybody else did. I was the only one that wasn't there. And then on that same exact day, I was at work and I got a phone call from my mom, and I'm just like thinking, hey, how's AJ? Like he's made it home. And I heard in my mom's voice that something was terribly wrong because she told me that my grandmother had passed away suddenly. And so that day was a huge turning point in my life. I was already going down a path I shouldn't have gone down, but losing her was very, very hard on me. But at that time, I thought I had hit rock bottom at that point. Growing up, I always had everything I needed. My parents provided a wonderful life for us. I never in a million years thought I would become that. To be addicted to powerful drugs, to find myself homeless for a brief time. And it was around this time, too, where more of the mental abuse started in my relationship. I can remember there were times that I would just be told I had to stay home, and he would take my car and go and do whatever he wanted to do, but I wasn't allowed to leave his house. I even had to get to the point where I was putting my cell phone in the zipper pocket of my purse and then zipping my purse and hiding it in the back of the closet because at this point, anytime I spoke to my family, it would have bad repercussions on me. And so that led to almost a year of no contact with my family. And my drug use got worse and worse. I was using things that I'd never heard of in my life. It was basically at that point whatever I could get my hands on. And it was all encouraged too. I was being fed this stuff. But also at the same time, it was that relationship where I was love bombed and then I was torn apart. And then I was love bombed again and then I was torn apart. And it's this psychological abuse that I went through that just continued to degrade me, and my self-esteem continued to drop. And I was accepting it. I was like, okay, this is who I am. Like, this is what I'm being told. This is who I am. I'm a druggie. I'm no good. I'm never going to be worth anything. Okay, well, that's what it is. I made my choices. This is what I get for it. So there was a day that he had gone somewhere in my car, and I knew I had about 30 minutes to look at my phone, check everything, but I had a message from my sister, and she told me just straight out, I'm coming to get you. You're coming with me. You have no choice. She drove to the house that I was in, and I can't remember how long it took me to finally get in the car, but I do remember as soon as I got in the car and we started driving away, I felt some sense of relief. And I don't think I had felt that for years, that I could breathe. And so in 2010, decided I wanted to go on Summer Service Corps. Well, Salvationist Service Corps is what it is now. But my first trip, I went to Haiti in January of 2010. And that trip changed my life. And we stayed at this beautiful hotel on a hill, and it was overlooking some, like, a water area. And there was this, like, village right next to us with a chain link fence in between the hotel and the village. And every morning the villagers would come out, the little kids would come out, and they would all be like trying to touch our hand through the fence. And I remember this one little boy, his name was Robinson. And every day he would pick flowers and hand them to me through the fence. And I just remember, like, being so excited that he would do that. And I remember one day we decided we were going to hike up this mountain that was by us, and the village kids came with us. And Robinson stayed by my side the whole time. And he even took my backpack at one point, and he was carrying my backpack up to the top of the mountain. And I just remember thinking, like, this kid has no idea what I'm saying. He has no idea who I am. I'm some crazy stranger from another country, but he wanted to be there for me and support me. And he helped me, you know, when I needed help going up this mountain. And I remember standing on top of that mountain, and, like, it was like the Lord just spoke to me. And all he said was just, like, I love you. And I remember that feeling. I remember, like, everybody else was kind of singing songs, and I went to the side. And again, my relationship with God was not strong at all at that time. And I just remember, like, audibly hearing that in my head. I love you. That was a big turning point for me. And I remember just saying to God, like, I want to surrender to you. I want to be a prayer warrior for you. I want to feel like who you are seeing me as. And so when I got home, I struggled a little here and there, but I remember that was that defining moment of, I'm not going to turn back to who that was. I'm going to keep pressing forward. Then came the summer of 2010, and I was encouraged to register for Summer Service Corps, and I was chosen to go to Portugal. My team for Portugal was incredible. We all became just like this incredibly close little family unit. We had this moment where, as much as I can say, the enemy was very strong where we were, to the point where we were staying up all night praying over each other, because we knew that the enemy had his demons around us. It was very, very evident, and it was a very terrifying experience, to be honest, but a very eye-opening and powerful experience at the same time, because that was the time in my life where I was like, oh my, like, Satan is real. demons are real. These spirits are really here to get us, and they don't want anything other than to destroy what God is doing. And it was in that time, too, that my faith just grew, because I saw how good the Lord is and how powerful he is and how he always has victory over the enemy. And that was just like, I needed that experience. I think I really needed that to open my eyes to the reality of the spiritual world. After Portugal, I came home and I needed a job. So my friends who are officers, it's Majors Mark and Linnell Winters, they were at the ARC, and I knew them from Oklahoma City. And Major Linnell said to me one day, "Abby, just come work for me." I decided to take this job just as a sorter, and I thought, okay, just give me a month or two and I'll find a better job. This is temporary. And very quickly, I saw why God put me there. And that was when the ministry just flourished. That was when my confidence of sharing my story was, I was okay to tell these people because they were also in the same place that I was. And in that time, in my ministry, in my time working at the ARC, my relationship with Christ just started growing like crazy. When we become a new creation, the old is gone, the new is here. And that's where I live and I walk every day knowing that I'm a new creation. And he gives me these little reminders throughout my life. Like my children, they are a reminder of my new life. My husband is a reminder of my new life. My restored relationship with my family, with my parents, that's part of my new life. And I went from with my parents to my mom telling me that she would not know if I was dead or alive because I would never answer her, to now I call her every single day. She's my best friend. So that God has just completely shifted from the way that Abby wanted to do things to the way that he planned my life to be. And I'm so thankful to sit here today to say that I'm sober, that I am in a healthy, loving relationship, that I have the most beautiful children on this planet. And most importantly, like my relationship with Christ is so intentional. It's so intimate. He is my everything. And because of that, he has given me this beautiful life. And I'm so thankful for everything that he's done.